Sele Elisha is here with me in the studio, and we will be doing this together. Good morning, Sele, and happy new month.
Thank you too. Same morning and happy new month to you.
Thank you. We'll start with the Blueprint newspaper, and here, 5 years after, court clears ex-NNPC GMD Yakubu of money laundering. Others return of seized $9.8 million. EFCC goes on appeal. The big story says El-Rufai reveals we know where the bandits are. Wants troops to bomb terrorist enclave. Says I warned against night train shuttle. No bandit barricade on Kaduna Abuja road. And this is from the Kaduna state government. Police detonate bomb in Rigasa. Details can be found in page 6. And this Kaduna state governor Nasir El-Rufai has admitted the Nigerian authorities know the camps, the identities, and listen to the conversation of the armed group terrorizing large numbers of the northwest region. The governor spoke after some terrorism ambush and attack on the Kaduna-bound train coming from Abuja on Monday evening. At least 8 people were killed during the attack, which lasted for almost 2 hours. Several passengers sustained gunshot injuries, while some are yet to be identified and even yet to be found. And this is still as a result of the train attack in Kaduna State. And we know that the people were killed even along the process, and even people were also kidnapped. And now the governor of Kaduna State is saying we know where these bandits are. Sele, we keep on saying, if you know where these bandits are, if you can identify these people, then we should go after them. Bandits are not people that should be treated as friends. They are enemies, because when these people go out, they go out to the extreme. They even do the extreme. They kill people. We've had records of people who lost their life as a result of this banditry attack. We had record of people who lost their loved ones. People were kidnapped. Ransom were demanded. So why should we treat these people as friends? Obviously, they are not friends to us. So if the governor can identify where these people are, he knows where these people are. And we saw survivors of this train attack. They said this identified people of 18 to 20 years of age, and they were chanting in a language. So you can identify the set of people that are out to destroy people. And even we have this issue of banditry, not just in Kaduna State, we have it in other states. So if the governor is aware of where these people are, he knows where these people are, then we should give out the necessary action we need to clear these people, because the peace of this country is being put on a hold because of this group of people, which are the bandits. The development of this country is put on a standstill because of these same people. So why treat them? Why try to cover up their sins? We should go after them. Since the governor is aware of where these people are, he can identify these people, then they should go after them so that peace can be restored back to Kaduna State. Because just yesterday we had where people even in Sabo were on a rampage, running because of the insecurity issues. So nowhere is safe even in Kaduna State. So we should not just handle this issue with levity. We should go after these people and bring them to book. And even we should wipe these people, because so many harms and havoc are being caused by these same people. We should not be fair to them. We need to take swift action. Thank God the president have told the service chief that action should be taken, and we need this action. Since the intelligence can disclose the identity of these people, the intelligence can disclose where those people are, their hideouts, then we should go after them.
You know, Tosin, while I was listening to the governor of Kaduna during the press release he made concerning them being aware of where these terrorists are, because, you know, I was actually excited when the House of Rep members there said we should stop calling them bandits, because they are not bandits, they are terrorists, and we should label them for who they truly are. And, you know, looking at the fact that, yes, they said they even do hear, they have their numbers, they do hear some of their conversations, they know where they are because they're in the forest. And if truly they are good human beings, then they should be living where people are. But the problem here is that they have actually adopted some people with them. If we are to bomb them, and the governor of Kaduna State said that he don't want a situation where when you bomb them in Kaduna, they will run to KB or run to Niger State, because they know the routes they do follow in the forest to go to those places. He said it should be together, like if they're going to be bombing the forest, they should be bombing the forest at the same time, both in Kaduna, both in KB, both in Yobe, Niger, Sokoto, and every other place that we do have issues like that. But then we need to know that casualties will be recorded at the end of the day. There are innocent lives that are there too. And you know, this one thing I know is that those terrorists are not daft. They have insiders that they work with. This is something we were very certain about, because each time there's an attack, we tend to see that it's either you see there with some army uniform, you see there with some task force uniform and all that. Definitely maybe as a result of maybe exchange of guns, they were able to have those uniforms. But we need to be faster than they are. We need to be more intelligent than they are, because we have all the gadgets that is needed to be able to work faster than they do. And that's why I keep mentioning this, that unless we are ready to take the bull by the horn, then insecurity will keep recording it on a daily basis. Bring out the names of the sponsors, but yet to have the names of the sponsor. Because one thing we are certain about is that there are people who are supporting them in this. Where do they get food? Where do they get water? Where do they get gadgets? That is to say that they live within us. And so it's something that there need to be a synergy both from the state government, the federal government, the local government, district heads. There should be a synergy with all these people, so I will be able to fish out who they are. If we say they are foreigners, how did they get into the country? Are we trying to say that our borders are loose, that anybody can come in and out of the country? It's really something we also need to really look into. We are willing and ready to fight insecurity, then we need to go to the latter, because we are tired. I mean, members of the House of Reps say each time they come, they make recommendations, they talk about things, and yet nothing is being done about that. It's as if we are comfortable living the way they are, not just in Kaduna. Okay, just on Wednesday, the same Kaduna in Zaria, a custom officer was kidnapped together with his son. Tosi, where are we going in this country with issues like this? So I think we really, really need to be ready. If we want to fight insecurity, then we need to take the bull by the horn, regardless of who the person is, no matter how high and mighty you are. If you are responsible for that, the law should take its place. If we are really ready, then the law really needs to take its place, because we are really tired. School is not on session. Our economy is collapsing. The aviation sector is collapsing. Look at the rate that people have left the roads because of kidnapping. It's collapsed. So where else is safe for us to actually use? It's really a question we've been asking, and we need answers from the government, because their number one responsibility is to protect lives and property. And when you fail in that place, then, I mean, you should step down for other people who are willing to take the bull by the horn.
Yes, does that mean that that's a NIN-SIM linkage is not of help to us? Because one of the issue was that this NIN-SIM linkage will tackle insecurity, because you can track these people. And we see bandits even placing calls to family. Why is it that their numbers cannot be tracked? We see them even sending text messages. So why can't we track this number? And now the NIN-SIM linkage have expired. We should do something about it. We're trying to upgrade our network to 5G. On still tackling insecurity, I keep on saying we should use the 3G, we should use the 4G to tackle insecurity before we can upgrade it to another network level. So all this issue of insecurity, we should just bring out different ways, the different tactical ways we know that we can tackle insecurity, because it's affecting people, it's affecting businesses, it's affecting families. Just today I had a family and a lady and her 4 children were abducted. Where are we going to with all these things? Children now are being abducted. You can imagine the kind of problem they will go through, the kind of crisis they will go through, and that is what is affecting them even mentally and psychologically. So we need to do something about it. If we really want to thrive, if we really want to grow as a country, insecurity should be what we should tackle. And still on the Blueprint newspaper, terrorists kidnap custom officer, son, 4 others in Zaria. Allow Nigerians to bear arms in self-defense. This is coming from Dugua. NCC uncovers cyber threats to window platforms and routers, with details in page 22. And on 2023, Saraki Tambuwal Bala takes consultation to IBB. Russia's sanction threaten US dollars, IMF cries out. No plans to shut down Garki District Hospital. This is coming from the minister. And Lagos, Ogun, Rivers lead as state domestic debt hit 4.46 trillion naira. On diesel hike, LNRB DA mulls solar-based irrigation, rolls out 4 new tractors. That's all the stories making round on the Blueprint newspaper.
Okay, look at the Nigerian Tribune. EFCC arrests 80 suspect internet fraudsters in Ibadan, 40 in Enugu. Detail of that story can be found on page 27. Bandit invade housing estate in Kaduna, kidnap custom officer son and 4 others with the rider traditional ruler. 3 others kidnapped in Abuja. pastor, son, and 5 others have been abducted in Kogi. And detail of that also can be found on page 26. And still on insecurity, the reps talk tough. And I'd like to read 2 of the comments coming from some of the members of the House of Reps. And they say the Army, the Navy, Police, DSS, all of these agencies are accountable to the National Security Advisor. From what I heard, most of these criminals were 16, 18-year-old boys. Are we saying that despite all the local and international training the Nigerian Army, Police, DSS, Air Force have gone for, 18-year-old boys are more powerful than they are? And this is a question that has been raised by Honorable Nasiru Ahmed. And another Honorable said, I think Nigerians should be allowed to also take arms. Nigerians must be allowed to take up arms in defense of their innocent souls. Defend their hard-earned properties, because it is like a momentum failure. If the agency of security have failed, then Nigerians should not be seen as failure. And this is coming from Honorable Al-Hassan Ado Dogwa. And I think that's all on insecurity. And then still on other stories on the Nigerian Tribune, we have an Ogun caught killing now. Buhari directs security agency. And that is still under insecurity. Consensus arrangement, Saraki Tambuwal Bola meets with IBB. Detail of that can be found on page 30. Patronage drop on Lagos-Ibadan train routes. Definitely patronage should drop, because people are actually scared looking at what has happened in Abuja and Kaduna trainway. We have court has freed ex-NNPC GMD Andrew Yakubu of $9.8 million fraud charge. And on the Lekki Toll Plaza, Lagos government LCC engage stakeholders and seek understanding. And the Lagos state government has urged the people of the state, especially Lekki and Ikoyi residents, to show understanding ahead of the proposed reopening of the Lekki-Ikoyi Link Bridge Toll Plaza by the Lekki Consensus Company Limited, LCC. The Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Mr. Benga, and his counterpart in transport, Dr. Frederick, and the Home Affairs Prince made the appeal during the stakeholders meeting held on Wednesday at the Lekki Phase 1 Lagos. They assured the residents that the state government will look into all the requests and recommendations made by the stakeholders and respond appropriately. The stakeholders meeting, which was held to engage key residents on the LCC plan to reopen the Lekki-Ikoyi Link Bridge Toll Plaza, was attended by stakeholders, including the president of the Lekki Estate resident. And you can read detail of that story on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. We also have a picture story here. The Anambra State Governor actually during his visit to assess the level of damage at the council secretariat at the South local government area that was actually ransacked on Wednesday night. And we also have another picture story here. So do well to get the Nigerian Tribune and read detail of any of the story that is of interest to you.
Thank you, Sally. On Daily Trust, Nigerians react as NFF sacks Super Eagles technical crew. British firm to fix Ajaokuta steel for free. This is coming from the federal government. It's a good effort, and it's even a good thing that this firm will be fixed. If it can be fixed, it will open more opportunities and even bring that synergy between Nigerians and even the British company. But if we want this synergy to boost our economy, we have to tackle the issue of insecurity first, because we see foreign expatriates who come to our country and later on they are being kidnapped. So this is not portraying a good image of our country to other countries. So with this issue, with this synergy being created with the Nigerian government and even the British government, we need to fix insecurity, fix our priorities right, tackle the issue of insecurity so that this thing can foster more job opportunities, and even look into our refineries. We are looking out for ways our refineries can be revived. This can be of help if only we tackle the issue of insecurity, because insecurity will become the order of the day. And if it's not tackled, we're looking out for growth and development. It will be very difficult to grow and even develop our country, because even people that are supposed to be of help to us are scared. Now we see that even at the Lagos-Ibadan Express train station, people are scared to even use the transport system because of what? Because of the issue of insecurity. So we need to tackle all these things, and we're seeing great moves from foreign nations trying to help us, trying to support us on issue of insecurity and how we can tackle it, if only we just open up and try to look out for all these ways and put them into practice so that insecurity will be a thing of a past in our country. The big story on 2023 presidency, PDP committee to jettison zoning, decision to be finalized Tuesday. 13 northern southern aspirants picks forms. Saraki Tambuwal Mohammed meets IBB. Driver dies as Lagos-Kano train derails in Kaduna. And on defection, Kwara Assembly declares Lai loyalists seat vacant. And concern over recurring failure of foreign-trained doctors. Bandits on rampage in Abuja, Kogi, Kaduna, kill 11, abduct custom officer, others in Zaria. Kaduna city resident G3 as bomb discover. And the picture story, we can see President Muhammadu Buhari visiting the president of Niger Republic, Mohammed, at the presidential villa in Abuja yesterday. That's all the details in the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, a look at this day newspaper. BOI eyes $80 billion from foreign investors, disbursed 1.2 trillion naira in 7 years. And with $587 million, US begin construction of the largest consultant globally in Lagos. And we have the court frees former NNPC GMD of money laundering charge. Stock market surge of insecurity worries gain 3.02 trillion naira in the first quarter. And we have challenged by the train attack, doubted by a nervous nation. Military launches offensive against terrorists with the rider, killed 34 insurgents linked to the bombing incident. Outraged lawmakers say nowhere is safe again in Nigeria. One NSA sack accused agency of profiting from insecurity, and Nigerians should be allowed to bear arms in self-defense. And the governor of Kaduna, El-Rufai, Amaechi's confession confirmed APC compliances, says the PDP. And we have IBP advise the PDP presidential aspirant to put Nigeria first. And detail of that story can be found on page 44 of this day newspaper. We also have a picture story here on the groundbreaking ceremony of the new U.S. consulate. So if you want to know more about any of the stories on this day newspaper, just grab the paper and read detail of any of the stories.
Thank you, Sally. On Daily Independent, AON threatens to sue federal government over multiple entries for foreign airlines. Airline operators of Nigeria has threatened to sue the federal government over continued multiple entries granted to foreign airlines. The body also declared that for many foreign airlines on investors to invest in the new national carrier, it must deposit at least $300 billion with the Central Bank of Nigeria to be sure of their seriousness, saying that no airline should use Nigeria as a dumping ground for unused aircraft. This is coming from the federal government. And Ajaokuta won't be ready before end of Buhari's tenure. This is coming from the federal government. And the rider says Ukraine war cost Russia $2 billion. Ajaokuta steel renovation deal. Herdsmen invade Benue communities, kill 2, displace thousands. Gunmen invade Abuja Palace, kidnap monarch. Burnt Inewi South Local Government Secretariat, Anambra won't bow to criminals. This is coming from the governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo. $9.8 million, 74,000 euros cash. Court acquaints discharges ex-NNPC GMD Yakubu. Tribunal stops multi-choice from increasing tariff on services. Telecoms may disrupt services after 7-day ultimatum over site closure. The rider NCC uncovers cyber threats to window platforms and routers. And we have a picture story here. We can see Tony Elumelu, the chairman and we can see Shatu Garko, Miss Nigeria, and brand ambassador Hair Insurance during the launch of her motor plan on Thursday. And that's all the story on Daily Independent newspaper.
Thank you, Tosin. And look at our Jezra Friday paper. Niger, the government mourns women, the children who drowned fleeing the gunmen attack. And on 2023, IBB backs consensus option, with the writer says consensus presidential candidate best for the country. And we have tribunal stops multi-choice from increasing tariffs. And the World Bank bans Nigerians tech firm over bribery. Detail of that can be found on page 12 of the Al Jazeera newspaper. And NNPC spent 63 billion naira on maintenance of 3 idle refineries. NASU threatens strike over 25% deduction from NECO accounts. Detail of that story also can be found on page 12 of the Al Jazeera newspaper. And we have panel to probe Abuja stadium vandalization. And you want to know more about that, you can also check that story up on page 16. And we also have a picture story here where I can see the Minister of Information, and also the second here we also have another picture story where we have the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment during they are also having an inauguration. So do well to get that Jazeera newspaper and you can read any of the story that is of interest to you.
So let's move into the Vanguard newspaper. Here there's an encounter which says, I spent 14 years in prison for wrong crime, coming from an ex-Kirikiri prison resident pastor. We never selected RCCG pastor Gandhi as new SOUN. This is from Laole ruling house. Still coming from Kaduna, blessed with formidable military presence but battered by bandits. This is from the governor of Kaduna State. Stock market investors gained 3 trillion naira in first quarter 2022. The big story, after train attack, Army repels invasion of Abuja by terrorists. The rider saying terrorists from Niger State advance on Gurara near Abuja. Army dismisses vital video claiming troops abandoned their colleagues in Gurara operation. Kaduna government says Abuja-Kaduna highway not barricaded by bandits. 123 passengers in train attack reunite with families. 18 families yet to see loved ones. This is from NRC. We've received 108 calls from people seeking whereabouts of their family members from Kaduna SEMA. Security agencies have failed Nigerians. This is from the reps. My teacher drove me to hotel, raped, threatened to kill me after My teacher drove me to hotel, raped, threatened to kill me, says 15-year-old girl. We can't continue to approve 4 trillion naira for fuel subsidy. This is still coming from the reps. And indigenes flee as gunmen attack local government headquarters in Anambra. Adoption of digital economy can reduce Nigerians' growing debt profile, San Zuga tells CBN, with details in page 34 of the Vanguard newspaper. On 2023 presidency, IBB welcomes consensus candidate for PDP. And here, inauguration slap, Mrs. Obiano apologizes to Soludo. And that's a good step. You need to apologize for that embarrassing act that was done on the inauguration of Charles Soludo in Anambra State. And that's all on the Vanguard newspaper.
Look at the Leadership newspaper. Alleged $9.8 million fraud court frees the ex-NNPC GMD Yakubu. And reps have adjourned plenary over incense killings. And on 2023 presidency, Northern PDP aspirant intensified plan to produce the next president, with the rider Tambuwal Bala Saraki hired today takes consensus campaign to IBB in Mina. And the Nigerians' unity progress more important, says the ex-military president. And we're having some point at issue here. The first point here says seeking a consensus PDP presidential candidate for 2023 general election for northern aspirant Aminu Tambuwal, Bala Mohammed, Bukola Saraki, and Mohammed Hayatuddin visited the former military president Ibrahim Babangida to seek his support. The second point here says apart from Hayatuddin, the other had individually visited IBB in the past to seek his endorsement. Almost everyone who aspired to be president has visited IBB for political patronage. The third point, out of the 14 PDP presidential aspirants that have picked the nomination form, 5 are from the north. Tambuwal is from the northwest, Saraki from north central, Atiku, Bala Mohammed, and Hayatuddin are from northeast. And the last point here, which is the fourth one, said the aspirants are engaged with intense consultation ahead of the June 4th INEC deadline for parties to produce their presidential flag bearer amid the raging debate about zoning. We can't complete a Ajaokuta plan before leaving in 2023. This is coming from the federal government, with the writer blames the failure on Russia-Ukraine crisis. And the federal government has made a policy face on the Ajaokuta steel road ceiling, saying that the Buhari administration can no longer complete the project in 2022 as earlier planned. The Minister of Mines and Steel Development endorsed this yesterday while addressing State House correspondents during the special weekly briefing coordinated by the presidential media team at the presidential villa. According to him, the Russia-Ukraine war and the COVID-19 pandemic has frustrated the project on several fronts, despite the fact that the President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 52 million for the project. The minister also regretted thus the company may not be fully revived under the current administration, as earlier stated. Detail of the story can be found on page 7. Other stories still on the leadership, we have President Muhammadu Buhari backs African Road Builders Award for infrastructure. Troops kill 34 terrorists, 45 others die in Boko Haram ISWAP clash. And you can also look up the story on the Leadership newspaper. We also have a picture story here, so do well to get the Leadership and read any of the story that is of interest to you.
Thank you, Sele. At this point, we will write to take a time out and we'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. We are live on Facebook and I would like to take a comment from Jummai Habu. She says, God bless Ekwa family. Thank you, Jummai Abu. Try to drop your comment on our official Facebook page and our phone lines are open and displayed on your screen. Do well to call us on stories that affect you or stories that interest you, on stories we have been reviewing this morning. I'm looking at the Nation newspaper, which is the next paper. Gunmen abduct custom official, 9 others in Kaduna. 300 days rainfall to pound Lagos this year. And Oyetola upgrades College of Education, Ilesha to university. Ex-NNPC GMD Yakubu cleared of laundering $9.8 million. And how 223 billion naira US consulate in Lagos will lift Nigerians. Cash jobs to be pumped into economy. Data call rates to go up. Broadcast bank station cut operation time. And vaccine lab to be ready September. 7 commissioners, chief of staff resign in Delta. Details can be found in page 28 of the Nation newspaper. Fears mount over 136 people on attacked Abuja Kaduna train. The rider, they can't be contacted, says NRC. Terrorists phone 5 hostage families Angry reps pass vote of no confidence in security chiefs. Police defuse IEDs at train stations. Panic in FCT, Kaduna, Abuja roads. ASUP serve strike notice, and GCI Old Boys takes over school as PTA protest. We have 2 picture stories on the front page. Do well to visit to look out for stories that interest you.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. And we have cash stripe state grown wide tax net begin aggressive revenue generation. And the federal government to spend 2.3 trillion naira presidential fund on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and 3 others. And still on the Kaduna reign of terror, terrorists kill 7 soldiers. NFA rains bomb on forests. And detailed with writer for the story says military gets approved to deploy Super Taku, DSS and police come forests. The National Assembly threatens shutdown. And the APC lawmakers demand NSA sacking. Leak memos reveal why FEC rejected Amechi's 3.7 billion naira security proposal. Oyo gets nav base, Makinde boosts construction with 500 million naira. And we have the money politics, fraudsters hindering Nigeria sees independent. This is coming from Peter Obe. Misme pressure Oshibanjo to join the presidential race getting impatient. Detail of that can be found on page 18. And soldier crying for help in viral video absconded in battle. This is coming from the army. And we have the caretaker leaves Lagos ploy student into cult. Victims flee school over threat. And the last story here, NIN SIM leakage. Federal government threatening enforcement as deadline expires. Detail of that can be found on page 19 of the Punch newspaper.
And on New Telegraph apps, federal government moves to probe Google for aiding loan sharks. FCCPC opens investigation into Jet A1 crisis. US unveils 250 billion naira new consulate projects in Lagos. On the aviation sector, Nigerians' air routes worth 200 trillion naira. This is from Unyema. And PDP rakes in 486 million naira from presidential form sales. This is still on 2023. While money laundering court acquits discharge ex-NNPC GMD Yakubu. Expect intense rainfall in 2022. This is from Lagos State Government. And the big story on 2023, Igbo leaders meet, demand presidency, ask Southeast politicians to insist on power shift, urge political parties to zone ticket to Southeast. Why we can't revive Ajaokuta steel this year. This is from the federal government, says Nigeria will save $300 million yearly with self-sufficiency in Barite. World Cup qualifiers, federal government set up audit committee on vandalized stadium. On insecurity, direct IGPs, Chief of Army Staff to deploy special forces to troubled local government in Kaduna. Reps urge the federal government begin probe of Nigeria's refineries. El-Rufai Amechi outburst expose APC complicity in terrorist attack. This is from the People's Democratic Party. No government watches its citizens die like chickens. TUC tells Buhari APC. Declare total war on terrorists from the Southern Middle Belt Forum. And there's a study here which says new glaucoma treatment could eliminate surgery, with details in page 8 of the New Telegraph newspaper.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Voice of Liberty. Insecurity in the land. The House of Rep urges Nigerians to arm and defend self. Says we can't be kidnapped in this chamber. And this is really, I think, a step the reps are actually tired of the issue happening. The Sultan also have directed the Muslims to look out for the Ramadan. And we have in 2023, IBB declares support for consensus presidential candidate for PDP. And an Abuja Kaduna train attack, Amechi asks Nigerians to raise money for victims' treatment. Still on the Kaduna train attack, military and others know terrorists hideout, know their plans but refuse to bomb them. This is coming from the governor. El-Rufai says Kaduna is currently in a state. The Kaduna State Governor Nasiru El-Rufai has alleged that the military knew the location of the bandits wreaking havoc in the state but was refusing to bomb their hideouts. The governor disclosed this yesterday after a Kaduna-bound train was attacked by terrorists on Monday evening with 8 persons confirmed dead, 26 injured, and some of the passengers also kidnapped. Passengers shun Lagos-Ibadan train over fear of terrorist attack. And we have the Kano-Marada rail line will integrate Niger economies. This is coming from President Bazoum. And that's all on the Voice of Liberty.
On Daily Sun newspaper, reps furious over spate of attacks and killings. House leaders advocate bearing of arms by Nigerians. El-Rufai Amechi's outburst confirmed government alleged complicity, says PDP. Second Niger bridge ready this year, NSIA Julius Berger. And UK warns against travels to 7 northern states. Blood, tears, sorrow continues as bandits spread terror. Military deploys troops to tackle culprits, and Arewa youth asks Buhari to declare state of emergency on security. Reps direct CAC JAMB others to remit 195 billion naira to government coffers. Soludo mourns as gunmen wreak havoc. Security man killed. Anambra local government headquarters burnt. On Enugu Guba, group advises Ugwuanyi on ways to choose successors, back exiting rational zoning formula. Senators gear up for electoral amendment battle. Southeast leaders roar, insist on producing Buhari's successor, call on APC, PDP to zone presidential tickets to region. Details can be found on page 27. And customers groan as banks slow down on BTA issuance. The picture story, a view of the homes completed under the National Housing Program Phase 1 in Imo State during its commissioning on Thursday. Representative of President Muhammadu Buhari and Honorable Minister of State for Education, Honorable Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, presenting the certificate of occupancy to one former Super Eagles goalkeeper and member of the 1994 African Cup of Nations winning team, Mr. Aloysius Agu, with the representative of the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing and Director, HOD Public Building and Housing Development, Architect Solomon Labafilo, at the commissioning of homes completed under the National Housing Program, Phase 1 at Owerri in Imo State. That's all on the Daily Sun newspaper.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at Ocean Defender. We have Ocean 2022 Ogubaye May contest under ADC. And the government commenced studies on polluted Ocean River. Man serves 24 hours community service for dehumanizing his son. Detail of that can be found on page 5. And the big one here says disquiet in Oshun APC over Omisori emergence as a national sect. With the rider elders expressed reservation, Oyetola supported ambition to protect senatorial ticket. This is coming from sources, and we are not leaving APC. Arabeshola loyalists. Other story here, we have father, 3 sons, and other remained over theft of phones. And Oshun people are tired of APC, PDP. This is coming from the SDB Guba candidate, and detail of that also can be found on page 5 of the Oshun Defender. That's all from the Oshun Defender.
Thank you. We have a comment from Shibe saying good morning to you too. And on the national economy, telecoms operators issue 7-day ultimatum to federal government over cellular site seizure. Telecoms operators under the Association of Licensed Telecommunicator Operators of Nigeria have given the federal government 7-day ultimatum to intervene in the seizure of cellular sites in Kogi State. The Kogi State government, through its Kogi State Internal Revenue Service, has closed and sealed up a number of critical telecommunication sites belonging to members of Auton due to their inability to pay the new tax and levies imposed on them. The chairman, Auton, Engineer Binga Adibayo, at a press conference in Lagos on Thursday, said the action by KIRS followed an ex parte court order obtained by the KIRS over allegations that Auton members are in default of tax payment to the state government, and access to this critical telecommunication site have been denied. He listed the charges as annual right of way renewal, social services contribution, employee economic development levy, mast site premises renewal, and fire service yearly renewal. Other charges from the Kogi State Environmental Protectional Board are payment of environmental levy, failure to submit any environmental impact assessment report, failure to register industry, failure to submit environmental audit report every 2 years, and storage of petroleum product. And this story can be continued on page 4 of the national economy. On cargo clearance, Togo, Ghana outperformed Nigeria by 40% in 1 year, as Lagos, other Nigerian port, ranks low in efficiency and competitiveness. Buhari louds BOI for creating 9 million jobs. Details can be found in page 5. No completion for Ajaokuta steel plant before 2023. This is from the federal government. And US to spend $537 million on new consulate building in Lagos. And that's all on the national economy.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. Resign if you can unmask killers of Nigerians, TUC tells Buhari. And tribunal restrain multi-choice from increasing DSTV and GoTV subscription. Telcos issue 7-day warning, plan discriminatory pricing in hostile states. Detail of that can be found on page 3. And on Kaduna, train attack, security threat rising, need new strategy, said Niger president. With the rider, El-Rufai states call for bombardment of forests inhabited by terrorists. Hariwa military reluctancy to deploy tactical jets show tolerance for terrorists. An outburst by El-Rufai, Amechi confirmed compliancy of APC leaders, PDP alleges. Amechi should apologize to Nigerians and resign. This is coming from Ojulu. And Sheikh Hussaini reps want Nigerians to bear arms. And anxiety as police defuse bomb in Kaduna community. The Niger Republic President Muhammadu have said African countries battling terrorism need to come up with new strategies for dealing with the challenge. Bazoum spoke with the State House correspondent yesterday after his visit to President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. The Niger Republic leader said West African region is battling an increased level of security threats, especially in Nigeria. You can read detail of that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And we have dealing with unbearable costs of housing. That's a big story, and you can read that on page 4 and 5. And the last story on the Guardian said 2023 in the Igbo to detractors treat us fairly. And you can read more of that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper.
Thank you, Celia. On Sporting Life, my heart bleeds to see PSG fans booing Messi. Man United expecting Ronaldo to leave this summer. And Rudiger's agent met with Barca on Wednesday. Haaland doubtful roles reveal. And the federal government set up panel to investigate Abuja stadium vandalism. Sports minister says culprits will be prosecuted. FIFA ranking for the month of March, Super Eagles now 30th in the world, rated third in Africa. Brazil are back on top. Drogba's son Isaac goes AWOL, and Arsenal reviling Chelsea Man City for Dybala's deal. Ndidi out for the best of the season, and that's all on the Sporting Life paper.
Okay, and on TBS Friday, we have Singer to strengthen local stake, bad ice export. We have the fishermen who harness the sun, and the government working to protect democracy, ensure justice for all. This is coming from the PM. And the mobile operators buy TK 10,645 kron spectrum for better service 5G tech. Through this auction, the government has taken another step toward realizing digital Bangladesh. And we have other story here where we have a graph of the revenue in 2021. And you can do well to get the TBS Friday newspaper, and you can read detail of any story that is of interest to you.
Yes, it's a pleasure doing this with you, Sele. Thanks. And thanks to all our viewers and those who placed their comment on our official Facebook page. On behalf of all of us in Equa TV, we say have a blessed weekend.